Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we are looking at some Desert Storm cards. These are the Pro Set Desert Storm cards. Each pack contains 10 educational collectible cards. These were real big during Desert Storm, which was I think 1991, 92, right in there. Didn't last long. We won. But these were a huge deal. There's a lot of these cards out there, and the set was pretty large. In another video, we'll look at the Topps cards from Desert Storm. But for today, we've got 4 packs of these Pro Set cards, and these were the more expensive cards. Yeah, 1991 Pro Set. I should probably know when this war was. 100% of Pro Set Inc. profits from these cards benefits families of Desert Storm veterans. So yeah, it really wasn't a good cause from Pro Set in that way. But these were the high-end cards, whereas the other ones were like 25 cents a pack. These were more expensive. And much like Impel did around this time, they had this pseudo-plastic wrapping around here. Excuse me. So let's open these up and see what the cards look like. They open real easily. If you're trying to collect wrappers, these are probably better to collect than the Cosmic cards from DC or some of the others. But they're all kind of the same, so 1 or 2 packs should be sufficient. Alright, so first up we have card number 219, which is the M220A1 Toe. Then we have 157, First Aid. Then we have the Infantryman, 117. Number 99, United Nations Sanctions. Japan, number 28. Number 247, the E3 Century AWAC. Then 181, USS Midway. Then we have the Red Cross at 147. We have number 81, Marlin Fitzwater, the Press Secretary of the U.S. Then we have Jerusalem, number 69. Interesting thing about these cards, the edges tend to get kind of scuffed up. You can see the corners are real sharp on here, which I like. The backs have little blurbs about the area. So like this one is Jerusalem. It's a Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Jerusalem has very special meaning. When Israel was established in 1948, Jerusalem was divided between it and Transjordan, but came completely under Israeli control after the Six-Day War of 1967. Jerusalem contains many historic religious shrines, including the Wailing Wall, the Mount of Olives, Gethsemane, and the Dome of the Rock, which is the Mosque of Omar. And it's got population information. Population 468,400. It's a pretty small city comparatively. Founded in 1800 BC, location central Israel, 35 mile or 56 kilometers from the Mediterranean Sea. Significance, capital, and religious center. So there's a lot of information factoids which are pretty interesting actually if you're a history buff. And then you'll note that the little flags are down here, so it's got the Israeli flag for Jerusalem. He's an American leader, so it's got his American flag down there. Let's look at pack number 2. Alright, we've got the M1 main battle tank, armory and artillery, number 208. We got the USS Wisconsin, BB-64 fighting ship, card number 182. We've got United States Army, card number 119. A geography card, the Republic of Yemen, number 65. And again, we can tell what country it is by the flags, and this one's actually geographically located. Then we've got Bangladesh, People's Republic of Bangladesh, card number 7. We've got an M109 DSWS Howitzer, Armory and Artillery, number 205. USS Incan, LPH 12-179. The Department of Defense, DoD, card number 105. That's US, obviously. We've got card number 79, George Herbert Walker Bush, President of the United States. Then we've got geography card, the Persian Gulf, card number 44. That one's kind of lazy because it's just like, yeah, we'll just throw a general region card out in case you don't know where the Middle East is. Then we've got multiple launch rocket system, MLRS, armor and artillery, number 204. Some of these vehicles look really cool. This was a lot of people's first exposure to what was then modern military vehicles, because the U.S. hadn't been in a real conflict in quite a while, since I think Vietnam. I mean, little skirmishes like Panama and Grenada and stuff like that, but this was the first time that it made the 24-hour news. CNN made their name off of this war, but it was also the first time most people had seen a lot of these vehicles if they weren't military. And most people aren't military, so. Alright, we've got number 153, collect report information. And there's even the initial salute down here, which is pretty cool. It's S is for size, the number of personnel or size of object. A, activity, what are they doing? L for location, grid coordinate or reference points. U for unit, clothing, patches, symbols or ID numbers. T for time, obviously when the activity occurred. And E, equipment, all equipment associated with the activity. So that's pretty cool. Lots of little factoids like that in here. Then we have journalism, card number 138. I think this was the first war where we saw live footage from on the ground with the embedded reporters. Because even Walter Cronkite's Vietnam reporting was filmed and then sent back. It wasn't live, as I recall. Card number 63, the United States of America. There's Mount Rushmore. Then Canada, number 11. Then we've got a AV-8B Harrier II Warbird, number 240. Then we've got the Oliver Hazard Perry class frigate, FFG fighting ship, number 196. If you don't know who Oliver Hazard Perry is, fascinating guy from history, you should look him up. Then we've got the Mideast Greeting Customs, number 140. I'll give you a little blurb about that, which is pretty cool. United Nations history, card number 96. So you get little factoids about the UN. The Italian Republic, number 27. Let's look at our last pack here. Alright, first card is the M1M104 Patriot missile, number 214. Those were a big deal. Everybody talked about that. The Patriot missiles and the stealth fighters were a huge deal back then. The M60 machine gun combat gear, card number 198. Then we've got U.S. President and Cabinet, 111. There's only one other guy pictured. They could have gotten a wider shot. South Korea, number 53. The Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, number 35. That's a cool looking shot. Then we've got the MiG-21 Fishbed Warbird, number 227. Then we've got Moon Phases, number 168. We've got Conserving Energy, number 134. We've got the Kingdom of Sweden, number 56. And lastly, card number 25, the Republic of Iraq. It was anything but a republic. Alright, so the cards are really interesting. Lots of great factoids on here. If you are a history or military buff, these are great. I highly recommend finding a set if you have any interest in Desert Storm, Middle Eastern politics, things like that. But the card quality is good. They've held up really well. They're a little thinner than the average traditional card, but they were higher quality cardboard. So there were a lot of cards. There were, I think, 280 in this set, right around there. It was well over 200. I think the highest number we saw was 267. So there's a lot of cards to this set. If you're interested in these, I highly recommend either buying an entire box or buy the completed set. I think when I collected these cards when they first came out, it took 2 boxes to make one set. So be aware of that. There's a lot of cards in here. You'll end up with a ton of duplicates. And there's so many cards in this set. They're like football cards. You'll have a difficult time with just one box collecting a whole set. But that is what is inside the Pro Set Desert Storm cards. These are great. They're definitely the best of the Desert Storm cards in my opinion. But they were much more expensive. But you can find these still. I recommend just buying the entire set, especially if you know someone that's a big military buff or a history buff, somebody that's interested in wars, things like that. But that's what's inside, so as always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, and we hope to see you on the next episode of What's Inside.